Hey guys, today is going to be a very exciting day indeed. We mentioned yesterday at closing out of yesterday's podcast. Sorry for the giggles, but I want to start us off. We were talking about some stuff right ahead of time and about how I was going to start this off, and it got me laughing because it was funny. And so we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. But the question was what happened to President Trump's 4D, 5D chess set, right? Where did it go? Do you have it? Did he take it with him? Did he leave it at the White House? And I don't mean to joke, and I'm sorry if you're a Trumpster. I do appreciate a lot of what he did for our country. I'm never for the person. I'm always for the policy. So I'm not a Bidenite. I'm not a Trumpite. I'm not. I do like these people in the sense like I would my friend or a neighbor or something like that. But I don't go around hating them or loving them or thinking they're gods or anything else the way I see other people flaunt at it. And over the course of his presidency, we did see a lot of Trumpsters overreacting and making excuses for him, so to speak, by saying he was playing 5D and 4D chess and he was so many moves ahead of everyone else that you just didn't understand why he was doing what he was doing, and he was going to show you in the end. Well, the end has come and gone. I was going to say the end is nigh, but it's beyond nigh. The end is come and gone, and look what happened. He left with it. So the Trumpsters are still trying to make excuses for him. Now they're saying, well, he can do more out of office than he can in office. Really, if that was the case, why did he run to begin with? So let's stop playing games. Let's get back to what we're really talking about. And it's this illusion that the globalists put onto the masses, onto the sheeple, and that is that you have to. You probably heard some of these phrases on Twitter and stuff that you have to have faith in the plan, right? Um, Back in World War II, they had a similar slogan. It was called "Keep calm and carry on." Maybe you've heard of that one. And trust God, right? These kind of things. These are all things to make you think that there's something going on and for you not to worry about it, that people are taking care of it. And all you got to do is just sit back and look pretty, and everything will all work in the end, especially if you trust the main man upstairs, God, right? Because we all know that he's so fair. People that believe that have never read the Old Testament. But anyway, that is the basis of what today's thing is. And the reason why it's funny is because so many people got caught up into the nonsense that Trump was playing on all these different levels and was outsmarting all these people. And at the end of the day, he handed over America, not just in a power shift from one political party to another, but a complete regime shift from Americana and full autonomy to something else. So if you're interested in all that, stay tuned. I got to go pay this bill, and we will be right back. So this infamous chess set, Trump's chess set, where did it go? Because if he's been playing 4D, 5D, 6D, some say 10D, 20D chess with the swamp, the deep state, where did his chess set go? And I'm not being facetious. I want to bring up the fact that this is a reoccurring plan. It's a methodology, so to speak. It's an ideology, but it's a plan more than anything. Um, if you've ever played football, or if you ever played a sport, or if you've ever executed a military maneuver, a lot of these maneuvers, a lot of these things are already pre-planned. You can just look in a book and they go, oh, look, you can do this one, you can do this one, you can do this one. They even have names. This one's called this one's called that, and here's how you do it. And they're just following that. The left does it, the right does it. Religions do it. And is this belief that you don't act in the here and now. You put off doing anything in the here and now because you trust that it's all going to work out magically, using your faith and everything, of course, in the future. And of course, while you're being calm and remaining calm and trusting in God and putting faith in the plan and letting everyone use their 4D and 5D chess techniques, and you're all sitting around with your so-called conservative friends, even though all of you have more tattoos than most of the artwork I've seen at a concert. It goes beyond disbelief and belief, if that even makes sense. But that's where we're at as a society. Because then they can execute in open air and carry out their maneuvers, doing exactly what they want, with you watching, and we let them. So when you look to see how all this started, it obviously goes back prior to World War II, but that was became such a staple, and that slogan got reused and repopularized again, the "Keep Calm and Carry On" slogan. That we'll go ahead and look into that. So it was created by the Ministry of Information, that was formed by the British government, and it was responsible for the publicity and propaganda during the Second World War. It was formed in 1939 after the outbreak, and it was designed to be a morale boosting academia type of thing, to put out these posters, to put out the propaganda, basically, that would keep the morale up during these testing times that lay ahead. Notice the words, and this is right off of their official website, the keywords that they choose to use, that these are during the testing times that lay ahead, not during not during this war that we're facing ahead of us, not during any other word you could put here, the evil that's invading us, not during these hard times, but these testing times. What were they testing? What were they being tested for? See, that's how they operate. There's what they know they're doing for you and what you think is being done to you. And if you haven't heard my podcast on World War II and what's going on there and why it all started in World War One, then you need to go back and watch some or listen to some of the podcasts, because you'll find out that all these instances were created to bring in a new bank, and also new technology was invented supposedly at the time. I say supposedly because it's not that it was invented at the time, it was being released to the mass public at the time. And there's a difference on that, and we'll get into that in some of the past episodes, and we'll continue to get into more in the upcoming episodes. So World War II was one of those wars where they had to tear down the old to rebuild new, to implement some of this new technology, which would be easier to do under new construction than to implement under the old construction, if you catch my drift. So they needed an incident, they needed an excuse, they needed a reason to tear down all the old. Kind of like 9/11, they needed a reason to tear down those two buildings. Never mind, they won't tell you the fact that they were asbestos ridden, and they had a timeline on when they needed to re-upgrade that. It was going to cost them, I forget how many millions, if not billions of dollars to redo it and get rid of all the asbestos. It housed the FBI paperwork, the CIA paperwork, and some of the other stuff, which we all know the CIA is where the Bush family heralds from. It's called the CIA, the George W. Bush CIA, for a reason. And we also know Putin came from the KGB. Why is that important? Because the CIA and the KGB were institutions that were set up after World War II. So you can see where I'm going with this. All of this that you think were all separate dots are all connected. And when you connect all the dots, you get to the big picture. And part of that big picture is how they use this technique over and over and over again of making you think that you don't need to worry right now about doing anything. If you just do this and this and this, you've taken care of your part. If you just wear a mask and sit in your house while we plunder your country, you've done your part, right? This is the type of mentality that they use over and over. And this is what has happened. And just like a proud parent makes excuses for their own child when their own child does wrong or can't keep up the pace with other children, the same is happening in politics or with movie stars or with sports people or even with whoever. The people that admire that person will make excuses for them. So you have all these Trumpsters out there that are just making one excuse, one ridiculous make-believe nonsense thing after another because they so want to believe themselves that they can't, their brain cannot accept the truth of the reality that the guy they think that is for them is just another globalist. And the Democrats at least don't even try to hide it. Once they get in power, they just totally shift gears right off the bat and double cross everybody. Trump really wanted to come off and appear as he was the man for the people. That was important to him. His one claim to fame for the globalists, I think that was his riding factor of how he got in, was he told them he could give them the Federal Reserve, and he did. He blended the Federal Reserve and the National Treasury with BlackRock, right? So if you don't know about that, you need to listen to my podcast. What's wrong with you? But you need to look into that as well. We all know who BlackRock is. BlackRock's a major hedge fund company. We all know what just happened with the hedge fund companies here. That just happened, right? Yesterday and the day before with GameStop and all that. So BlackRock is a huge hedge fund company, and they control pretty much, I would believe, your 401k, all of Mexico's retirements, all of Canada's retirements, a bunch of other countries' retirements. They knew where to invest their money on how to control the masses, how to control the people, and how to control the countries. They came up out of the late 80s. They're not that new, but they came up with this new regime change of the New World Order. So they knew where they were headed. See, that's what's not important to the globalists. It doesn't matter where you start and where you come from and how long you've been there. It only matters if you're headed in the same direction they're heading into towards the future. Because if time is a timeline, there's the timelines that lead to the past, and there's the timelines that lead to the future. I got to take a quick break and pay a bill, and we will be right back to talk more about that.